Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is btaylortv, and today I've been seeing Carlee Russell been trending all week since her disappearance and reappearance, and everyone is up in arms about lots of allegations coming out about her lying, everything. So we're going to break this down because I've been doing my own research and investigation into this, and I want to break it down from a different perspective because I can easily get on here and be mad and angry and, hold her accountable as she should if she did lie. But I want to give a different perspective because, over here, we like to kind of break down things. We like to step into other people's shoes of how and why this person would do something like this and what would drive someone to make believe their disappearance. So we're about to get into some things here. So if you are new here, welcome to the channel. And if not, thank you for joining me. All right, when this story first broke, I'm not going to lie. I saw it, I read it, and I kept moving because something inside of me did not move. Spiritually, it did not move. And it wasn't because she wasn't important. It's just I moved by spirit. And something inside me was just like, that's interesting. I don't know why. Because I am in the news business and I write these type of stories every day. I've written stories about kids being kidnapped, tragic stories of kids being kidnapped and not being returned alive, that they were found, but they were unalive. Okay. I've read stories of people who did deletions and ran away and were later caught. Those are the stories I'm used to writing because I am a journalist in the news world. So I'm used to seeing certain things like this. I'm used to seeing women and men disappearing and writing missing person stories and their families reaching out to me to give me additional information to help this case. I've had people that I've known in my family that has gone missing. So when I read this story, nothing in my spirit moved me the way those other stories have moved me. Something about some of these disappearances, I knew that the person was gone, or I had faith and hope that this person will be found. And I prayed so hard, even stayed up late at night praying for certain people for their return, and they did return. So when this story broke, there was nothing inside of me that shifted. I read it and I didn't want to read any more of it. I don't know. I just kept moving and I saw her on my timeline. And for some reason, I just couldn't take it in. I didn't say any prayers, and it was not because she wasn't important. I was just being led by the Spirit, guys. And I may not be the only one. If you also felt this way, please comment below because I want to know if I was alone in this. I don't mean to sound harsh, but I've seen a lot of things throughout my news career as a journalist, and I've seen a lot of things. So I think either I'm just desensitized about certain things, or I just was led by the Spirit to not be moved by something that may not be what it is. Okay, so she's back at home. She said that, she was kidnapped and set up the story. Police have came out and basically debunked everything that she was saying and what led up to her disappearance. And people want an explanation. People are mad at her family. They're mad at her. They're mad at everyone. And at the end of the day, I can't blame the parents because at the end of the day, Carlee is a grown woman at the end of the day, and I think her parents are just as confused as anyone. And as a parent myself, if my child was to pull some BS like that, I wouldn't even know where to start. First of all, I wouldn't even know where to start with my child. So nonetheless, the public is the least important thing to me right now because I'm confused. Why would my child do that to me? Why would my child let me to believe that they disappeared, that something tragic happened to them? Do you know that that is the worst pain that a parent can ever experience? I could not even imagine or fathom something happening to one of my babies, okay? Even if he is a grown man and he is out living his life as a grown adult, that is still my baby at the end of the day. So I'm pretty sure that her mother is distraught, confused, feeling like she failed her child. Like, what is going on? Why would you do this? How can I explain to the world what you've done when you can't even explain to me what you've done? I don't understand. And before I put my foot in my mouth, I really want to believe you. And I think her mother probably really wanted to believe her daughter, or that her daughter had some type of form of explanation of why she would pull something like this. So I don't agree that these people that are calling out her family and covering up and asking for privacy, I think if anything, they're probably embarrassed, and they probably don't even know how to answer the public. They don't know how to answer the public, because they go out to the public. You're basically not getting the full story of what really happened. And is your child sane? Because anybody that can pull something like this is not in their sane mind, which also led me to believe that are Black people, are Black women allowed to have a psychotic episode, to lose their mind, to be mentally unwell? Because there's a lot of people who are mentally unwell. And yes, people want to say, well, she planned it out. Okay, psychotic episodes don't also mean that it just on a whim. You know, she planned out something that she really just thought, yeah, this is a great plan. Like, I should do this. Like, she had to lose every common sense that she had to get back at allegedly her ex-boyfriend, because apparently he cheated on her. Okay, her ex-boyfriend apparently cheated on her, and maybe this is why she was like, you know what, you hurt me, you're going to pay for it. You're going to miss me. You're going to feel sick for what you did. You're going to hurt the way you hurt me. And I'm not saying that this is the actual case, but these TikTok investigators had a lot of things to say. So one of the things that stood out for me before I break down a lot of the things that I want to say is that her story did not make sense. Her story sounded so familiar to Kevin Hart's story.
Yo, dude, sorry I'm late. I was on the highway and the fucking baby was running on the highway. Yeah, I know, right? Shit's crazy. So I get out the car, I start chasing the baby. In my mind, I'm like, why you running, baby? That's what I'm thinking, right? But I'm like, what do you do? Because I can't just grab the baby and throw the baby in the car. That's kidnapping. I fuck around, go to jail. So I had to make a decision. I was like, shit, what do I do? So I get back to the car. Turns out the baby that I thought was a baby wasn't a baby. It was a grown-ass man with Benjamin Button disease.
I just thought the whole baby story was really odd, like I said, and I just was like, okay. All right, that doesn't make any sense to me. Then I ran across this TikTok, which broke down a lot of things that a lot of people don't want to talk about because they are allegations. But I'm going to go ahead and play this video for you guys where this woman really just broke down piece by piece about Carlee Russell's boyfriend and how he deleted her off his social media. Like, he's done with her. He is done. He was posting about her during her disappearance. Even when she reappeared, he posted about her. And then when all of this started to come out that she was lying, he wiped his entire social media. He has wiped his hands clean with her. So if she thought that this was a way to get her man back or get back at him, if anything, it made her look worse. It made her the villain. And now no one feels sorry for you. No one feels bad for you. You couldn't even go through a regular breakup if you wanted to because you pulled such a ridiculous stunt as this, allegedly. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video for you guys where this one woman breaks down everything.
It is over for Carlee Russell, the nail in the coffin. You remember this picture we've been sharing around in all my other posts? Her boyfriend, he wrote this very heartfelt message about her when she was missing. It was all over his Instagram. I don't even know how to start out this post, but only to say thank you for saving my girlfriend's life. Also to everyone who shared, came out to the Hoover meetup, met with search parties, who proceeded to tell everybody about Carlee to bring more awareness to her story. Well, after Hoover Chief Police's press conference today, she's gone. He has removed her off of every post on his Instagram. She has been washed away. So either he doesn't believe her either, or she was doing something he didn't like. Either way, if he wrote that giant heartfelt message about how much he cares and how much she's happy that she's back, and then goes on and erases everything about her off his Instagram today, conveniently after that press conference, something ain't right. My boy, we're with you.
What up, Nurse Gang? What up? What up, Nurse Gang? What up, TikTok? So, the update I never wanted to truly have to report on. So, we've all been talking about the Carlee Russell case. This is her Instagram, Carlee. Over the last few days, you know, she shocked the nation. And black women all over the country felt empowered. We felt finally pleased that America was caring about black women. Every national news outlet was reporting about Carlee Russell. This is the first time this has ever happened. The hunt was on to find this black girl. But then when she showed up at her house, it got a little greasy. Why did it get a little greasy? Because she just showed up. So then that's when the world got divided. Wait, what's going on? Something is not right here. Okay, we don't want to speak. We want our privacy. Something is going on. What is going on? Well, when you start talking about something, people start DMing you the truth. It looks like 50 people from Hoover have already got fired for leaking what's really going on with this case. And it's trickled into my DM. So you mean to tell me all this was because she was trying to get back at her ex-man? Yeah, that boyfriend that spoke out about her being kidnapped and held and tortured. Yeah, that was her ex-man. And he actually cheated on her with a stripper. And Carlee had it out with the stripper. And to get back at him, yeah, she disappeared herself. And then got afraid when it blew up. This is what Carlee said to the side chick. Itch, please. He told me everything you said about me and you thought I told him to say that. I wasn't even with him. You're delusional AF if you think your little conversation was anything more than convenience and the fact that he used you to get back at me out of anger. You want to talk about I don't compare to you on your worst day? Girl, bye. You're miserable, or at least should be, being a stripper to provide for a child I've heard you've had from multiple people. So not surprised you don't know who your baby daddy is. Mention me or contact my NIGGA again, and you'll see I'm not the one to play with. You don't want you and your whole family touched. You're poor. I'm rich. You're a stripper. I'm a nurse. You're ugly. I'm beautiful. You could never. You're the bottom of the barrel. Someone from the police department just could not watch us all suffer. So they released these details. Here's the update. She's sticking to the story that she was abducted. She says she was lured into the woods by some people who live in the woods, described as a person with orange hair, balding on top, tied her up and drove her around and put her in an 18-wheeler and fed her cheeses for 2 days, and they painted her nails. They kept her on 150 somewhere, and somehow she managed to get away and run through the woods to her neighborhood until she got into her house and then goes into the hospital. Hoover got some Ring doorbell footage from her neighborhood, and it just shows her walking casually until she gets close to her house, and then she starts sprinting and flailing arms and acting a fool. She got caught stealing from work that day, failed out of nursing school, and has been on drugs. She had her friend behind her, and that's who picked her up. She was with her friend all weekend. The police knew she was safe because she unblocked her ex while she was quote-unquote abducted. She planned to disappear and realized it wasn't going to work.
So Carlee Russell's ex-boyfriend apparently cheated on her with a stripper, and she was still saying like, that's my man and you're this and you're a nobody, and she's trying to convince herself that she's so much better than this other woman because of what her man did. And a lot of women have been there where they're like, oh, this woman was beneath me. Why? You're not better than me. You were just something to do. And you try to convince yourself, but it's not even about the woman. She may not mean anything, but what it does mean is, what type of woman are you to deal with that? What type of woman are you? Because if he's going to mess with a stripper, then what does that say about you sticking around with a man who could cheat on you with a stripper? Okay, so she has obviously lost all her marbles at this point, and her Google searches gave her away. Like, taken, or maybe she thought about the Kevin Hart story. I don't know. I don't know what led her to think that, okay, this is going to go all well for me. Like, you would think as an adult in common sense that this is not going to go over what we have. The FBI, the police, we have high technology to find and track people. And this story blew up nationwide. But what's hurtful the most about this is that Black women do not get this type of exposure. And it's sad and sickening, and it kind of feels like a slap in the face, like a tease of sick teased from reality that the moment that there is a Black woman that goes missing, right, we finally get the world to pay attention. Out of all the Black women who were missing in this world, and it's fallen on deaf ears, or it's talked about and forgotten about the next week, we finally had nationwide coverage on this story, only for it to be some bullshit. And it just feels like a laugh in our face that why, out of all the stories of missing women, this story within itself blew up. Why did this story in particular blow up the way it did? Out of all the missing Black children, missing Black women and men, there's been some sick cases that has happened that it did not blow up. But you know what? I'm going to take it back further and look at it from a standpoint of why did this story blow up? As a journalist, right? Usually when I write a story about a missing person, it's usually the case of like, oh, I haven't heard from them anymore. And the last time I seen them was on this day, on this street, at this time. That's usually how we shape up our stories. There's nothing really like grandiose about their disappearance. It wasn't a case where, oh, I saw a child and maybe sex trafficking, because human trafficking, sex trafficking is a major topic right now, especially with the release of that movie Freedom, and so when that movie got released and then we start talking about disappearance and trafficking, like that's such a big deal right now. And so the way she shaped up her story, she didn't just disappear. She had a grandiose story, somewhat out of a freaking movie, because mind you, she Googled Taken, and she even tweeted apparently that Taken 2 is one of her favorite movies. So she thought it was a good idea to make up a grand story. Well, guess what, baby girl? Allegedly, if you did that, guess what? You're going to get grand results. You're going to get grand consequences. And so you went out your way to make up a story involving a child. Now, that's what sparked people's interest. I don't think it was about her being a Black woman. I think the story within itself is saying there is not only a Black woman, but there is a missing child. There is a 2-year-old child being used, and maybe being used by sex traffickers or sex traffickers, and being luring other women. Because when we hear as a woman that a woman was lured to her demise by a child being used, that's what sparked the story. It wasn't about Carlee Russell herself. It was the story. It was how she disappeared. Like, dummy, if you was gonna do it, be like, oh, I'm mad and I ran off. Okay? And then you just needed and people just led people to think that, But no. You wanted to make up a whole grandiose story about a child being used as a prop to lure you. You snatched your wig, your car is left on the side of the road. People did not think about just you. People thought about their daughters. People thought about their wives. They thought about their sisters. They thought about themselves like, wow, this could have been me. Because if I was to see a child on the side of the freeway, I'm going to get out, especially if I see a small 2-year-old child running along the freeway. I'm going to get out my car and concerned, because now we're talking about a child here. So it wasn't about Carlee Russell within herself or being a Black woman, because there are stories about Black women that blew up. There was a woman in Houston, I can't think of her name right now, but there was a woman in Houston, and the way she was from California, came down to Houston, and the way she disappeared was very, very strange, and it blew up, and her father, teamed up with Houston activists, and they went out their way to really push and pressure, the media to really cover this woman's disappearance. And the police did find out who did it, and he was charged, or who allegedly did it, and he was charged for his, involvement. And they found some remains that could be hers, and some of her remains were found. Like, there are certain stories. There was another story out in Houston where a little girl was disappeared, and her face was plastered everywhere. So there are stories where Black women and Black children are being recognized, but it just depends how the disappearance happened, because people are sold on drama. People are sold on dramatic, heart-tugging stories, okay? So when you hear such a story like Carlee Russell, that is what grabbed people's attention, not just her disappearance, but how she disappeared. Because it became more of like, it wasn't just her that was being targeted. Is this a serial killer? Is this a person that's going around stealing women and luring them with children? Are children being snatched up? Like, it became bigger than her because her dumb self made up a grand story, if this is fake, okay? Now, I want to go into the mental health aspect, okay? I want to go into her mental health. No one in their right mind would make up a story so extreme. No one, as an adult, and I'm not excusing her if she did lie. I'm just saying that there is no grace for Black women when we mess up, or when we have a mental episode, or we break our mental. Like, there's so many women who have lost their mind. Yeah, even if it's small, like going out your way to key a man's car, going out your way to egg a man's house, you have somewhat lost a sense of your sanity in doing things that can get you to go to jail. So in a way, I think personally, if she did lie, I think that they need to check on her mental health. I think she's not mentally well, because even if she seems mentally well and she's talking and speaking and she planned all these things out, I would use an example of someone who stalks celebrities. There are many people who go out their way to stalk celebrities. They go outside their homes and they stalk them. These people go on about their everyday lives, but they're stalkers. So if you can't think that someone can't plot something out and not be mentally well, then you are ill-advised. So I do have a sense of compassion there, because Black women are not given a grace to have mental illness. That's not a thing in our community. We know somebody probably in our own family who are dealing with mental health issues, and we let it fall on deaf ears. Just pray about it, or just get over it. We have a really bad habit of telling people to get over things that we could have barely got over ourselves. But some reason we feel like our in blanket advice is to just get over something. Not everyone is built to handle certain things, especially when you don't have the real support behind it and everybody's just telling you to just get over it. You're not going to get over it. You're either mentally not going to be able to go through that process alone, so you do irrational things like plotting out your disappearance. And she was in an irrational state of mind, because anybody that had anybody who was rational wouldn't have even thought about doing something so crazy, or nonetheless think about it, but go through with it. That's what's so crazy about this entire story. Now, knowing the law, this woman's going to have to answer to law enforcement. She's going to have to answer to law enforcement. This is not something like, forget the public. Public scrutiny is one thing, but it's another thing when you have to answer to the law, because it is against the law to make up false allegations. We saw the whole Jussie Smollett situation happen. She could possibly face charges unless there's some type of insanity going on with her where she's not sane, but she's a black woman. So when has the system ever been lenient on black women or black people? They don't care about your mental health. They're going to treat you as such, and they're going to charge you as such because they use resources. I think they said it was over $40,000 of resources used to find her. That is against the law, to use up resources when they could be using those resources to actually find people who are actually missing. And what's sad about this all is that there is another woman missing, like many other women. There is a woman named Kajara J. Fraze, and I'm sorry if I'm saying her name wrong, but she's 9 months pregnant and she's been missing since February. She's 22 years old, and the Neighborhood Talk posted about her, and they described how she went missing and when she was last seen. And what's sad about this case is the comment section. The comment section was like, well, I hope she's not faking it. And it's so crazy because the world of public opinion, you probably only have one chance to show the world that you are worthy. And this is what I'm talking about with representation. It is so important about representation. And Carlee Russell was not a good representation for black women, because there's over 60,000 black women that are missing nationwide. And just one woman lying made many people question black women, question our character. This is why it is important to have representation on a major stage and not let the little things like this ruin our representation, that we are not important and we're not worthy of being protected. But I'm going to be real with y'all. It wasn't because Carlee Russell was black. It was because of her story. And my heart goes out to parents who are actually dealing with their child being gone or missing. Because I'm pretty sure every time they hear about a big story of someone being kidnapped and being taken, it tugs at their heart, because it's tugging at a pain that they feel. It's tugging at a moment of time where their whole world came crashing down, that somebody out there stole something from them that they can never get back. The most precious thing in this life they can't never get back. They have not seen them, hoping that they will get them back, but they don't know. And they don't even know if they were to get them back, are they alive? Are they well? Are they ever going to see the same person again in them, the same sparkle in your child's eyes again? This is just a very disturbing and disgusting story, and I just wasn't going to talk about it. You guys can see I did not talk about this story. And I don't want to make it too long, but I want to get you guys commentary below, because I really wanted to break this down in a different way, and from a journalistic perspective, and also from a spiritual perspective and a mental health perspective, that if this was the case, that this man has driven her off the edge, and I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm just saying that, ladies, we really have to pour back into ourselves and love ourselves, because if a man can drive you to do something like this, you really need to take a deep look into self, because this is not healthy. And she thought what was going to work for her only made her look even more foolish. Okay? I know you want to get back. The best way to get back at a man for cheating on you, it may not feel like this is revenge, is by leaving. And leaving without acting a fool. Now, that's a hard thing to do, because you know you want to curse them out and go off and hit them and do all these things to hurt them. But the best revenge is to quietly leave, because you feel like if you're being submissive and quietly leave, is that you think you let him off the hook. But really what you're doing is leaving him with that death of silence, of just moving along with your life. The absence make the heart go fonder. And that's the best revenge you can have on a man. And I'm not even saying permanently because some women can't even take the idea of permanent leaving. Don't even look at it like you're permanently leaving, but just leave and don't talk to him. Give yourself time. I know you want to talk to him, but if you really just go out your way and block that person, not even just give yourself time and really stand up for yourself and say, no, I know I feel like this. I know I feel hurt. I know I feel like I'm giving him to the other women or he's not going to care about me. But the women who walk away are the women who win. And I say that all the time. I don't know, guys. Let me know your thoughts below. Do you think Carlee Russell did all of this for a man in the name of love to get back at a man that she once loved? Do you think that this was a revenge plot? Do you think that she's suffering from mental illness? Or do you feel like, I don't care what she was going through, she is wrong? I don't know. You got to let me know your thoughts below. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, bye. Oh, and shout out to my moderators. Shout out to my subscribers. Shout out to my new subscribers. Thank you for watching so much. And until next time. All right, guys. Bye.